I did one question before I get us going.
Of course,
You guys just signed to Monarch Heavy.
correct.
Um, was there someone that isn't associated with like Monarch Heavy that helped you guys get in there?
It was a funny, yeah. So the band I was in previous, had done a bunch of, or had done some recording with Mario from Spotlights. And that friendship kind of kept going to the point where like Spotlights are like our big sibling band. Like if I'm not sure what's going on or whatever, I reach out to Chris, I reach out to Sarah, I reach out to Mario. We're like a pretty close crew. I mean, it's not hard to be. They're great fucking people.
Dude, I
Um,
fucking absolutely love them
yeah,
so
they're
much.
the fact that they're not the biggest band in the world kind of bothers me a little bit, just because like I don't think they've played a bad show, let alone written a bad song. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
but our intro there was actually Chris from Spotlights. Put us unintended, like unknown to us. I had sent Chris the record. He basically was like, "Hey, are you okay if I share this with some people?" And I was like, "I trust you implicitly, so share it with whoever you want." And somewhere along the line, it ended up into the A&R of Monarch, and that kind of just took care of itself at that point.
hell
But
yeah,
it was an odd one because we were definitely not searching for it, like it was just the
hey, check
ball
this
flew
out.
where it was going
Yeah,
to exactly. And it worked out really well for us, which was great. But like it's just the Spotlights crew being the Spotlights crew, like that's just kind of who
yeah,
they are. They're like, oh, well, can we help with this? Or here's how we did this or anything like that. So we're very lucky to have them, which is great. And like the fact that I can just text any one of them at any point in time, just be like, "What's up?" is like really cool as like a fan of their band. But
yeah,
also, it's nice to have someone that's navigated a lot of this stuff, be an arm's length away from like being like, "How did you guys deal with this?" Or like, what do you think is the best way to deal with this? Because you've gone through everything. So very
yeah.
lucky in that sense. But yeah,
It's so wild. I 100% agree with you. There is not a bad song. I've I've seen them. I don't, honest to God, I don't know how many times I've seen them. I just drove up to Detroit for my birthday to see them with Sleepy Time because I was like, I'm going to fucking see them. I didn't get to
yeah,
see them last year. I saw Sisters, which was cool, but
yeah.
I love Spotlights. Like I flew out to fucking LA to see them with Mr. Bungle and the Melvins.
Oh,
Fucking any
sick. Yeah,
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 dude.
yeah.
Like
That would have been the one to do it for too. Like if you're gonna fly out, that's the one.
and to watch the fucking crowd. Like when we got there, it was when they started playing, it was probably 40% full. By the
Yeah,
time they got done, the fucking whole crowd was like packed in the fucking venue, and everyone was like, "Oh my God." And I just thought, this is why I'm here. I love to see everyone's face go, "Holy fuck, who is that? They are fucking great, you know?"
yeah. It's funny that you say that. I saw them with Quicksand and Glassjaw in Pontiac. I drove down from Toronto to whatever
Crowfoot?
that venue was, Crowfoot, yeah. And first off, got a parking ticket for backing into a spot. That was weird. But they were the opening band, and it was the same thing because you know how Crowfoot's got that like outdoor kind of smoking bar area there.
Yeah.
By the end of their first song, that entire area had emptied out into the venue. And I was like, I had not known them before then. And it's not hard to sell me on heavy spacey. Like I
Right.
like all of that. So my favorite
Same.
band ever is Cave In. Like, let's go.
I
But
see them. I'm seeing them like next month. Yeah.
are you going to Boston? No, what are they?
No,
No,
they're
they're
playing at Post Fest in Indianapolis.
that's what it is. Yeah, because they have a Boston show later that they're doing Jupiter front to back on, I think, which is sick.
Right on.
Um, I actually bought an amp from Steven Brodsky at the end of last year, which was fucking wild to me. We can talk about that if you want to. I didn't make a fool out of myself, which was a victory in its own regard. But like he was like, "Hey, I like listened to your band on the way here, and it's really fucking good." And I was just like, "I can die now. Like, I put a bullet in my head. It's fine. I'm good. Like, we don't need to do anything else." Um, but I wish they were doing like a proper North American, or at least like somewhere around Jupiter tour, because I saw them. My partner and I are both very big fans, and we saw them do their St. Vitus like residency where they were doing the shows leading up to Until Your Heart Stops, and that was fucking crazy. And I've obviously gone to see them in multiple different places, but I feel like the special shows are great, like they're doing very specific things and whatever. But also like just get close enough, like it doesn't have to be Toronto, just get close enough that I can get to it,
Yeah. That
But I think that's what makes it cool.
it's it's awesome that to have someone else that feels the same way because like literally if I like a band, if I can fucking make the trip happen, frankly, wherever the fuck it is, like
Yeah,
I'm gonna make it happen. I just talked to my wife. We just made an agreement. We're gonna see a concert on as many continents as we possibly can.
I love that. I love that. You got to go to Japan then. That's got to be
Fuck
the first one.
100%.
Yeah, all of my
Well,
friends that have toured to Japan are just like, it's the best place ever. And I'm not a good flyer, but I really want to go.
yeah, I'm okay with flying. Like I'm just like, what is the goal? Okay, I'm going here to do this. Like, all right, let's fucking do it. I'm totally on
Sick.
board. So that's fucking cool. Okay, everyone, we're already chatting, but I'm here with Dan from Lowheaven. They are a Toronto-based I'm gonna call them metal for lack of better term. They're a non-genre specific band. Their fucking new album, Ritual Decay, is does not come out until August 29th on Monarch Heavy. But I'm gonna tell you what, if you want to be punched in the face and coddled like a baby, this is the fucking album for you. What a I'm telling you, I've listened to it today probably four times, start to back, and I'm absolutely blown away. It's uh, first, I love the flow of the fucking album. I love how it starts with In Grievance and just like it's like you know what I mean? All the way through like Manic Grace, which is this like I look at it like a story, like someone's fucking story, and it's like a culmination. Like you finally found it with Manic Grace. Here you are.
It's funny that you say that because we went into the recording session knowing what the track list was going to be. Like we had it in our heads already from the demo process. Mikey, especially our bass player, was like really adamant about like how's this going to play out? How's this going to go? And like there was obvious, as with anything, there was little squabbles here and there. But when we kind of figured out where things were landing and whatnot, it was the way that you see it is the way that it's been since the record was finished. Like since we were done
Wow.
recording, it has been there. And some of the ways of the songs transitioning were like done knowing like, oh, it's going to transition from here, cut hard into this song. And it just like it felt right from the get-go. And I don't think that like we ever really were like this. We're like it's obviously not a concept record or anything like that, but even when I think back to like, going through listening to the masters, it just there's something about the flow of the record where it was like, this is what we were trying to do. Like this
Yeah.
is how this is supposed to feel. And I think with as again, giving Mikey all his credit for being like, no, 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 we've got to pay attention to this. We've got to make sure that this is it. And all of us having that in the back of our heads, I think it made that much more apparent with what we were after of like this is how we're going to display this, so let's make sure it makes sense all the way through.
Yeah. That is, it's wild. I I'm a little bit older. I'm pushing that 50 mark. And I grew up in a time when it was everything was like albums. When you listen to a band, you listen to the whole album. And I feel like we are so getting away from that. Everyone's so focused on like just singles. That's all we want. Just put out singles. And I understand the marketing aspect and all of that, but I love like the just a whole album experience where you can sit down, start to finish. That's one of the things that I fell in love with Spotlights about.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Actually, I'll tell you, like, just to touch on them for a minute, my first experience with Spotlights, I went to go see Deftones. I, Deftones in our house is like a family band. They tour our family and like my best friend and his family. We all go. We pile in the fucking expedition and onto the show
That's
we go.
awesome.
Like
That's
kids,
awesome.
everyone. So it's super cool. And we were at Freedom Hill in Sterling Heights, Michigan, and Spotlights came out, and I'm like, huh, what's this? And it was like, boom! It was Chris's first tour with the band. He had just joined the band, and I couldn't take my fucking jaw off the ground through the whole set, dude. Like, oh my God.
It's funny that you say that because I always feel like I'm a little older than my age as far as like my musical tastes go, but also I was going to shows so early that I feel the same way about when you see a band that puts a set list together properly. It's a
Yeah,
very objective thing, like if we're seeing Converge and you're seeing Converge, we're probably going to want different sets, but the vibe is still what you're after. And there's a lot of times where you go to see like a heavy show specifically, and sometimes you'll just have this unrelenting like riff, riff, riff heaviness. And that's great, don't get me wrong. But when a band is conscious of what they're putting out there as well, of like we can't just pummel them the whole time. We've got to have those dynamics, especially if it's part of what they do.
right.
I think that's really important. And I think that's what also comes to, as you were saying before, like an album experience. I get bummed when bands that I like only put out a single. Like I understand the release, calendar and whatever you've got going on, but if you're just putting out a song here and putting out a song there and doing that sort of thing, that can be cool. But at the end of the day, I don't get the experience of the entire like art sphere of what you're trying to do. And it's the same thing as like when you see an opening band and they only play 20 minutes, it's like I understand the concept behind that, but now I want to see you do 45. Like
Yeah.
if you've caught me in, then I need to see that longer version of it. And hopefully you get to the point where you can do it. Um, One of those ones that's really big for me that's not quite a metal band, but I don't know if you ever saw Planes Mistaken for Stars play.
Uh,
They were,
so I fucking love them.
yeah,
Absolutely. I saw them on tour with the Atari. Actually, let me take that back. I didn't get to see them because they were playing a show with the Ataris at a club here, and the last minute got canceled. So I reached out and hung out with the band a little bit, like out at dinner
sick.
instead of the
Yeah.
show. So, like, whatever.
They're they're like a top five band for me for sure. And I got to see them basically the last time they came up to Canada. And it was like I almost bailed out of the show, like, which is shameful for me because I think about this all the time of like I would have missed them and never seen them again after that. But
Yeah.
they got up, they played 45 minutes without stopping, but it was almost like this is a really bad comparison, but I'm going to use it because I'm Canadian. It was like a really good Rush song. It has its peaks and its valleys and all this stuff. The Planes Mistake of Stars set was unrelenting in intensity, but in dynamics, it was beautiful. And they finished the set and they were like, thanks, and got off the stage. And I was like, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And when consuming music nowadays, like there are, there's songs that I like that I will just listen to the song. But for the most part, I want to, I like it's like active listening. It's like when you buy a record and you put it on the turntable, like it's active listening. And that's what the majority of my kind of listening content is on purpose. If I've
Yeah.
got, a half hour on my way home from work, I'm putting something on and listening to it through. I'm not just, what's the new song that came out? And I think that's in my opinion is starting to come back with younger music fans. I've noticed just in my day to day of like talking to kids and I should say kids, even talking about people in their 20s, which is getting up there. Um, I'm noticing more and more people are going to record stores and they're buying different things. And to be fair, it's a lot in the hip hop world, but who cares? Like hip hop is the same as a lot of other stuff. They put a lot of work into what their presentation is, and if that
100%.
gets you in the
Yeah.
door with that sort of thing, then that's beautiful. And I hope that that's the the starting to bringing that back of like the full active listening. Like this is a record made to be a record. Let's hear the whole thing.
Yeah, and I like in I say in the last couple of months what I've noticed with bands is like when they write an album with like vinyl in mind. So it's
Yeah.
like the first half, side A is this and it ends like this for a reason, and then it starts on B like this. And I'm like, holy fuck. Like that is such, I'm glad that bands think that deep about how people consume their music, because the reality is like I've had this vinyl conversation a lot lately too. Vinyl has such a like unique listening experience. Like you and I might buy the same album, but when we listen to it, they're gonna have different pops and cracks like through the
Oh yeah.
album, which is like it's super cool. And it's cool to see my daughter like she's in her room, like puts on a vinyl and she like listens to it and she's over there drawing. I'm just like, fuck yeah. You're like enjoying the music as it should be.
It's I My sister and I were obsessed with this little, when we were kids, with this little turntable. We used to play my parents' Queen records on them. I was obsessed. I can't remember this. I think it's called Dynamite or something. There's like a ripping like borderline punk rock song on one of the Queen records. I think it's the same one with "We Will Rock You" on it. And we like obsessively played it, not really realizing kind of what's going on. Now I have like borderline hoarding collection of records, but it's still the same kind of vibe. Yeah, and I mean, like, I feel like everybody that I become friends with is kind of in the same zone. It's either books or records. There's no other where to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
But like I'm kind of like a completist in the sense that like I want every variant. I want every yeah. Oh, if this is an import, it's got an extra song. I want that too. But I enjoy the exploration side of doing it. And again, that is like when we were younger, when we'd go to the record store and buy CDs or even cassettes. Like I used to buy cassettes as like I had Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness on like a 4 cassette thing when I was like 10, and that never goes away, I feel like. And there might be a little bit of a jump here and there, but like I said, even more like the kids that are coming to the merch table at these shows are buying records. They're consuming these things because it is a tangible thing. And I think
Yeah.
that's a little bit human nature too. Like, you think our world is what it is, that tangible exchange of art is pleasing, like it's a good thing. Whether it's artwork or books or anything like that, like it's got a human aspect to it, if that makes sense.
100%. I think that's one of the reasons that I do the vinyl thing. Like of course, it's I think there's a bit of the sentimental to it too. When I was a
Oh,
kid,
big
I put
time,
on a
yeah.
record and I'm like staring at the art, I'm reading the liner notes, and it was like I gotta find the thank yous because I want to know what other band I need to check out that these
Yeah.
guys liked. So it was the hunt for the next thing, which really I think started me into it. And I fucking love it, man. I'm a little bit of a completist too. So much so I just ordered a splatter titles from France.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I think it was clear with like white and blue splatter. I'm like, all right, I gotta
Yeah.
fucking get that. Like,
Speaking of Planes, Mistake for Stars, I have a bunch of their like European pressings because I found a guy on Discogs that had like triplets of everything. And so I sent him a message. I was like, yo, pretty big fan, be willing to like pay for this, but you've got pretty much everything. I would like to buy it as a lot. And he was like, oh, you're a fan, blah, blah, blah. We chatted back and forth a little bit. He charged me like, I think $100 for all of them just because he was like, I'm happy you're a fan, which is sick. But also like, having all of the European pressings of Up in Them Guts and like fucking Mercy, like kind of a bigger deal for someone in Canada, especially. But that was like a big, I think I call it record high, but I was like record high for like a couple of months after that of just
oh
like I
yeah.
have all these records now, But I truly like I exactly like but I
Yeah,
truly love the hunt. Like people talk about it's like it's not the destination, it's the journey. Like I love finding records in that way. or just kind of like serendipitously, that I didn't say that word right, but you get what I'm saying. Like
Yes.
falling into something or like finding this, like Criminal Records in Philly, I think that's the one, used to be famous for. I'd walk in every time and I would find an American Nightmare or Snapcase record that I didn't have every time. And I did
Oh
that for
yeah.
something like 6 or 7 years, which is just goofy. But also that's store, like that store in Philly, just they have that stuff and it's great. And I kind of love that. But um I could go on for an hour about records, so maybe we
You,
shouldn't do
yeah,
that.
you, no, I think you're right. Yeah, like you and me both. Like I just love, I'm the same way. Love the hunt. Like, let's find it. Let's finish it out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your band because that's obviously why we are fucking here. Um, so you started it like during COVID. Obviously, everyone's kind
Yeah.
of like thumb up the ass. We can't do anything. Like, what do we do? You go, hey, let's fucking create. Like, what was that
It
conversation like with everyone?
it was weird because COVID for me, and I don't want to speak across the board, but Mikey was kind of in this too. I worked through most of COVID. Canada was really locked down for a good chunk of time to the point where like I was walking an hour and 10 minutes to work and back. I could take transit, but then sometimes you'd see the bus and it was just like they've got as many people as they're allowed to carry, so they would just go straight by kind of thing. And so I mean, it was nice because, it's nice being outside. Again, active listening to a couple of records on my way there and a way home kind of thing. But if I wasn't working, I was basically in the bedroom of this apartment that I was in, and that was it. Like there was no in between. And like kind of everything else in the band that I was in for 12 years at that point, broke up very suddenly during COVID, where like we got together to like we could finally get together to rehearse. And the one of the people in the band was like, I bought a house and I'm getting married and I'm not going to do this anymore. And it was the first time that they had talked to us in I don't even know how long outside of just like idle chit chat or like talking about what was going on. And it's just like, how do you, okay, do your thing. But in essence, we that conversation happened. I had come home to my apartment, everything else is melting down, for lack of a better term. And I was like, well, I'm gonna do something with this. And Alex, who was also in my previous band, was like on board to do whatever. He's like, let's figure it out, let's do something. And Mikey had played in some other bands, but him and I had never really kind of like crossed paths until maybe about 6 months before COVID came. He was in a different band and we played a few shows together here and there, but he had been around, especially Toronto and like Toronto music for a really long time. And I'm not really sure how we didn't run into each other before then. It's one of those weird coincidental kind of like everybody knows each other, but we don't know each other. But it was just like a good fit. And we started demoing at home, and it kind of took a while for us to figure out what it was. But there was a kind of a moment where like the switch turned, and all of a sudden we kind of realized very quickly that this was going to be fucking heavy and it was going to be a lot. And that was around the same time where, I mean, in the bio, we generally talk about this, but it's like my entire life just like caved in on itself. So this became my outlet, but I also had collaboration with people versus being alone in that bedroom,
That
on work
isolation, yeah.
days. Yeah, almost like being in solitary confinement. You know what I mean? And so that was my saving grace and also like my nervous breakdown at the same time, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%. I think, I was lucky in the fact that through the same thing, through the lockdown, like I was essential. So, I didn't stop. My wife was also one of those essential people. So her life kept going and couldn't go to shows. Like, what do we do? Uh, I don't know. Let's something.
Yeah.
Um, so wild. So we were lucky in the aspect that we weren't like isolated alone. We still had, luckily, I think we had a few friends that were like, I'm I'm not gonna, I'm not sick, you're not sick. Let's hang out. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's,
Yeah.
let's do it. Um,
I it was just such a funny time. Like when I think back to it now, it was so devastating. Like, just think of the concept of what we all went through. And like, people struggled. Like, I'm not going to act like it was easy breezy for everybody. It was fucking wild. But when I really think about the amount of just isolation that's gone on. Like, not to say that humans are supposed to live perfectly around each other all the time forever. I don't want that. But
Right.
but also like you're a human being. You're supposed to do all of these certain things. And I remember the first show that I went to being like actively in like a borderline panic attack until the first band started playing. Like there was this level of like I haven't been around this many people in this confined of a space in like 2.5 years. I don't like what's going on, what's happening. By the end of the show, the kind of normal feeling had come back. But like, I feel like we're now, a few years out of it, and people are still impacted by that and impacted by that whole experience. And I honestly like actively try not to think about that time. But when I go back and think about, especially doing interviews and stuff now, it's kind of wild to think about the fact that a vast number of us just survived something that in theory we're not going to have again. And I think the diminishing returns on that are going to be a long expanded thing. And some amazing fucking art came out of it. Some amazing fucking things came out of it. But
A
also,
lot of
like you
fucking
said,
mental health issues.
that's the other side of it too. Like, and I, again, trying to swing into the positive a little bit here, it made this stuff more prevalent. We
Yeah.
talk about it more now. Whether it's bipolar disorder, depression, or like all of these different things, the joint experience has made that part of it become more okay, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But it's fucking hell, man. Like that's not just a song title, a record. Like fucking
Right.
hell, dude. Like it's even to think about now, it's just fucked.
It really is. And it's wild to think about, all of that. Like it was weird for me because like in 2019, my little brother killed himself. So I was
Fuck.
still like dealing with that. And then we go into this and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not gonna sit here and like just sit in my house. I can't. Like it would drive me nuts. Of course, can't go and do shows or anything, but it was still like, dude, I'll go buy some beer. You want to hang out? Yeah, let's do it. All right, cool. Um, and what we're gonna see, we're seeing it now coming out of it, right? Like we're starting to see a lot more like mental health issues. At the same time, we're also talking about it a lot more. So I, I feel like there are more resources now for it than there have been in the past. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but the art, the art that's come out of it, holy shit! Like I everyone says this is the best era for music, but I think right now we are seeing some of the best music that we've had in the history of music, and we still have all of history's music, so like fuck. I'm
Yeah.
super glad. Like your fucking album, dude, is I can say that I didn't just I listened to it 4 times back to back to back today. I will do that again and probably multiple times um in the future because it is so fucking good. I mean, I can't even like seriously, I can't pick a favorite because every time I'm listening, I'm like, oh, this one. I'm like, no, fuck, this one. Fuck, this isn't better than that. Well, shit, that's not better than that. Jesus fucking Christ. Like it's just they're all so good and unique, right? Like again, I'm a Deftones fan. I like that it's not all the same. I like that everything sounds different and has its own structure and it flows. That's the transitions for me are the big thing, right? Like if
Yeah.
how a song ends and how the next one starts, like if it doesn't flow right, you lose momentum.
Yeah.
And
No, I
you don't
agree.
fucking You don't do that with Ritual Decay at fucking all. Like, fuck.
It's funny because we've been having this uh like similar conversation where at the end the question comes like, well, like Deftones or Cave In or Converge or whatever comparison we get. There's a lot of stuff where we have like a meeting point as far as the bands go together, but there's a lot of stuff that's way out in left field for everybody.
Yeah,
And what's great, like I think what's beautiful about us is that we wanted to find our version versus like we're going to be this band with this influences. It's like that's what we're after. And if I'm being myself in this, I will say I'm going to continue to strive to achieve that over and over again because I'm not somebody where it's like, oh, there we go, we're done. Like I'm hypercritical in a bad way. But also like I when I am forced to listen back to the record, like I feel that we hit what we were after. And I look at that as a very good springing point to continue to shoot what we're after for. But like we've already mentioned, like we're surrounded by art that is intentional, that has a purpose to it, but also has a vision with it. And that like I can't say anything but that was our goal as well. Like I said, Mikey had a vision for how he wanted this to sound, and we figured that out together. And digging into like the songs and different things like that, like I knew what I wanted to feel out of it. I knew that this was for whether I wanted it to or not was going to be cathartic in the process of doing all of these things, but also like the only thing that I was feeling is what the music now sounds like. The only thing that Mikey was feeling is what the music sounds like. The only thing that Alex was feeling is what the music sounds like. And we created this fucking monster, for lack of a better term, in our vision, but out of all the anxiety and depression and everything else that was going on with that. So I'm really happy when someone tells me that they love it and that they want to listen to it over and over again. It's a little torturous for me, truthfully.
yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad or a good thing. There is some anxiety in my head of like once this record's out and we have to play a lot of this stuff live, like how do I handle that? But that's what therapy and everything is for.
Hello,
Yeah,
telehealth. Let's do this
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean we'll see, but and I think that's fair for anything. Like I mean talking back, like Jane Doe is a fucking heavy record, but
Fuck yeah,
it's
it
also
is.
a fucking heavy record.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they're singing about fucking Care Bears and shit, right? So I look at that like I'm a massive Converge fan, but I wonder sometimes how they get up there. I mean, Concubine notwithstanding, because it's just a riff machine. How do you get up there and play some of those songs? You know what I mean? Like, how do
Yeah.
and I struggle with that. I got to imagine a lot of other artists struggle with that.
Yeah, I
Fuck.
think, I wonder for a lot of folks, I think in our in the conversations that I have, what it seems like is um when that album comes out, it no longer belongs to them. It belongs to the world. So like it's easier for them to like get out there and do the thing, right? With all the catharsis, right? Like
Yeah.
you write the album and it's like cool. Like I moved past this point emotionally. Awesome. Do I have to revisit it every night? Well, not all of it, but parts of it, sure.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe where that's where the drinking and drugs come in. I don't fucking know. Like,
Our band. I always make this joke because we all have dogs and whatever, but our band is very food driven. Like our interest is like, okay, the show's over. Is Taco Bell still open? Like, where can we go
yes,
now?
yeah.
Also, as a side note, Taco Bell in the States is way better than Taco Bell in Canada. Just throwing that out
Oh,
there. Like
listen,
light and day, night and day. It's much
I'm
better.
gonna promise you this. In my opinion, Taco Bell is fucking garbage.
Oh,
The one
really?
by me is, yeah. I'm like, oh fuck. I don't want to. I don't want to go there. What? But
It's
Waffle House is the fucking Waffle
Oh, I
House is
can't.
the
I can't do
jam.
Waffle House. I can't do
Really?
it. I,
Oh,
I, for fortunate or unfortunate, I'm vegan for one, so that Waffle House makes nothing that I can eat.
that is true.
Um, for two, because of that, we have very few restaurants that we all agree on, so we tend to swing really hard into that. And it's just maybe we're indoctrinated with like how horribly bad it is up here, but Taco Bell is cheap and it's good comparatively to what we're used to like in Canada. And so maybe that's just like exposure point of like maybe if we had Taco Bell from the States every day for like 4 years, we might feel that way at that point. But it's still like a weird little like what you're getting is not gonna make you sick. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I
I don't
love the
know that.
concept of waffle. Yeah,
Uh,
I love the concept of Waffle House. They just got to stop putting butter on everything. Like, come on,
uh,
you know?
that's probably my favorite thing about it. I'm like, fucking butter that shit up. I don't fucking
Yeah,
care. Like,
just
I
bathe me
know,
in butter.
right? Please, like, just dip the spoon and fucking put a straw in it. I'm good. Like, it's so
As
fucking
Canadian as
wild.
I can be, I could do that with maple syrup all day. Like,
Oh,
I
I
know
could
it's
do.
such a Canadian joke, but like, I could
I
drink
could
maple
too.
syrup, no
Like,
problem.
that's my kids. So my kids are my stepkids, and my wife. So my wife and I have been together 13 years now. So my kids are now fucking 18 and 21. Holy shit.
Wow. Okay.
Um, so we went up to Michigan, uh, fuck, 10 years ago, maybe. And they had never really been up there. And we stop in a store. I'm like, we're getting some maple syrup. And they're like, why? Because it's first, it's better than regular syrup.
Yeah.
And second, you're gonna be like, what if I've been missing my whole life? And I got it, and they were all like, oh my God. Like, yeah, like this is what it's about. Like, this is what life is about. Maple syrup. Nothing else.
Nothing. American Taco Bell and maple syrup.
Oh, oh fuck. Can I have a bean burrito, side of maple syrup, please?
Yeah, no problem. Just dip and slug and yeah.
Yeah, we're good. So,
Oh fuck.
so is there an album on or an album? Is there a song on like Ritual Decay that stands out for you more than the others?
There's probably two. Amherst is definitely one. It was the first song that we actually wrote, but it was the last song to be finished. And it had probably like five or six different versions of the song. Hilariously, there was a breakdown in one at one point. Glad that's gone. In hindsight, it's a cool fucking breakdown, but we'll use it for something else. But that song was like, it's weird because I like fought it. Like I didn't want it to be on the record. I didn't want it to be part of what was going on. The more we demoed, the more we whittled down from the like 30 fucking songs that we wrote down to the what it ended up being, the more I knew it had to be there, but I really didn't want it. And then it was the same thing like when it came time to write the lyrics for the song, I didn't want to do it. I kept putting it off. I was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do it because I knew the weight and the value that that song was going to be. And it's definitely the weird one on the record. I think it fits, but it's also like the most subdued you're going to get from us. And I knew that in the vibe of that song, the way it came together, especially the way it was recorded, like there's parts that ended up on that song, guitar pieces that weren't in the demo that just kind of happened out of nowhere. Like it had this kind of magic to itself. Where I finally, when I sat down and Brett, the gentleman that we recorded with that produced the record, forced me to be like, we're doing the vocals for this tomorrow. Like, be ready to go. That I finally was like, all right, I got to do this. And I had to like unlock that piece in my head of like, this has got to, this has got to go back to where everything else is. And I stayed up until like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, like writing, rewriting, rewriting, right. And when we went to record it, it was the same thing. Like it was me and Brett. The boys were just kind of like in the back, like not involved in anything. I would track, we would stop the song, I would rewrite some stuff, we would track, and there was like no interaction. There was no talking, there was no nothing. And it's kind of like everybody knew that I needed to get to the end of that, and kind of had to do it. And again, this band is very collaborative. There's a lot of like back and forth, and there's a lot of different stuff. The lyrics are all me. Like all of that is me. And there was definitely a trust that was put in that I would write and let go of the right things. But especially for that song, it was like everybody just kind of put their hands up and they're like, let them get to the end. And again, in hindsight, very beautiful thing. At the time, I was like racked with anxiety. I was, purposely sleep deprived. I was doing all of this stuff. And even when we're recording the bridge part of the vocals, for example, I had 4 to 6 more like chunks of the bridge that I was ready to sing that just didn't happen because the song ended. And it was just getting into that line of like, I've got to let this out. I've got to let this go. And then I would go through and edit and be like, I want to keep these 3 things. I got to get this in here and I got to go through all of this. And by the time we were done that song, I was like, I can't, like, that was the end of the day for me. Like they went on and we did some guitar stuff and we did other things, but I was like, I'm not doing anymore. And I would personally say like the that experience is the entire record. Like it's very personal, it's very exposing, it's very metaphorically direct for what was going on. But that song specifically is like kind of the let go, kind of end all of everything. Um, the other one is probably Manic Grace. That song, again, when we wrote it, I think we all knew it was the last song on the record when we finished the demo. And it was the same sort of thing of like, this has got to be the one, like another version of this where it's like the lyrics have to be perfect. Like they have to be exactly what you need. And I keep describing that song as like, that was the one where I let go and was like, okay, I'm in hell. This is just what it is. And musically, it feels like the end of when Godzilla is destroying the city, sort of thing. But lyrically, it is as far as I'm concerned, like this is the end. Like this is where this stops, kind of thing. And same sort of thing. Like I came with fucking books of lyrics and fucking all this kind of stuff, and most of it was written in the studio, just kind of channeling it. Now, there's times where I would pull lines from things, and I'm very much like a I like to fiddle with stuff. Oh, I don't like how that word sounds or whatever. But there was a lot of times once we got in there and this is the lyrics I wrote the night before through, and it just worked. And that one especially, like it was like I wrote the song, I set it down, I went to sleep, I woke up in the morning and looked at it and was like, okay, let's go. And they both kind of feel the same to me, but for very different like very different executions of that, if that makes sense.
100%. Like it's, it's funny that you chose those two songs. Like my first listen through Amherst was the one that really like stuck out to me, and I was like, holy fuck, just absolutely like enthralled with it because you can feel the emotion and the fucking draw to it. It was like holy to me, again, holy shit. Like where did this come from? And it is like the start of the culmination. Like you've got all this, in grievance and fucking chemical pattern, and then cancer sleep, and then nothing else fail, and then Amherst. And it's like, oh, I found my feet. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be okay. Like,
It's
holy,
it's funny that you were saying before, like the art becomes something once you hear it. Like that's not a an explanation of that song that I would have expected because I know everything that goes along with that song.
right.
But it's almost like you hear that as like a bit of a reprieve, and
Yeah,
that's fucking beautiful, Like that's what art is.
it is. It's so like, it's so subjective, whatever you fucking want it to be. And I don't give a fuck if you like, that's why I like live shows. Nothing else matters. Like we're all there because of this band. We get to watch the band. We like the music. Whether you think that, whether you feel this song is about, and not, I'm saying that wrong, not whether, but so often people are like, this is my connection to the song. This is how I feel with it. This is what it means to me. And it's not the same for two people around, but
Not at all.
we're we're all there for the same thing, to love the fucking music and to enjoy the band, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
Fuck yeah, it is. My favorite thing in the world is fucking music. And that's, I wish, I really, not even wish, dude. It's the great connector. You
I
you don't
agree.
need, a language. You've got music. Um, fuck everything else. I don't care about your politics. I don't care about your religion. Like that shit don't matter to me. Are you an asshole? And like how do you treat people? How do you treat the janitor? How do you treat the server that's serving you at the restaurant? How do you treat the guy who doesn't have anything going down the fucking road?
Yeah,
Like that's what fucking matters.
absolutely.
Oh shit.
Absolutely.
Holy shit.
We're getting heavy today, man.
I
We're getting
know.
heavy.
We're getting deep. Uh so how do you feel like we are I was gonna say on the cusp. We're not even on the cusp. You're 2.5 months out from the release.
It's exciting. There's still a lot of for lack of a better term, behind the scenes stuff going on that is different versions of stressful. Some is good stress, you know. For example, like creating the visual aspects that go along with a lot of what this band is, whether it's a music video, whether it's touring, tour posters, or any of the visual stuff. That's always a lot of fun. And we have a very specific vision for how that works, which is great. Um, at the other side, there is the anxiety involved with releasing something new into the world, and like you said, letting other people have their versions of that. Not that I have really any expectations about anything, you know, I tend to just be very about the work. There is some anxiety that exists within that. But we've been sitting on this for 3 years at this point. You know, there is also a little part of like, let's get this the fuck out there so we can go, you know?
Move
And
on. Yeah.
yeah. And you know, also we are a group that likes to tour. So also the opportunities and the touring that's hopefully coming up means that we get out to play and we can, you know, give our live version of this stuff a real go and you know, use the opportunity to create a new experience with the art that we have here. So there's a lot of like shared but kind of extreme emotions that go with that, whether it's happiness or anxiety or whatever. There's positive negatives of that all over the place. But you know, the process is the process, but being able to take something that we've worked so hard on and put it out into the world is the big payoff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I want other people to hear it because I think they're gonna absolutely fucking love it. Like again, as a whole, it's a fantastic piece of art, but you could almost pick any song out and show it to someone and they would I feel like most of the people, at least most of the people I know would be like, holy fuck, what is this? This is fucking good, you know?
And then I think we exist in a world where word of mouth is just as important as like the advertising side of things. You
Yeah.
know, there's a really good friend of mine named Greg. We call him G Money. He's the fucking best. He is like the encyclopedia. He is constantly finding new stuff. He, you know, not to say that he's not like a giant Snapcase fan, because he is, but like he is one of my crew's, like we call him like an elder statesman because he knows everything. And that's the thing. He'll text me sometimes and just be like, "Have you checked out this band?" And then I don't talk to him again for a while. But he's the fucking best. And
I
we
love
exist
that.
in that world where there's like advertising and there's all this stuff, but also like music fans share music. So I'm a little intrigued to see how this gets out there, you know? I hope that the word of mouth is a positive thing and that we end up in that world because that's how you find bands like fucking Hum and like Hopes Fall and like those, you know what I'm saying? Like that's where
Yes.
you get into that world. And those like what I wish happens is the ability to do this for as long as possible, but also to be able to continue to create art that people want to tell other people about.
That's it, that I think that's a fair statement, right? Like I know in my world and in my circle, one of my favorite things is waking up and seeing a text on there, hey, check out this band. Like, fuck yeah. And I don't know how many texts I send every day, but I promise there's at least two in there that's like, hey, check out this band, to
Even
someone
if you hate
somewhere.
it, it's still good. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like,
yeah, those are my favorite. There's
yeah.
I'm not going to mention their name, frankly, because I don't remember, but they like keep showing up on like Instagram and it's just a little real and it's this band singing a song and it's fucking terrible. But every time I see it, I share it to my friends. I'm like, hey, check this out. And they're like, why do you keep sending us these fucking people? I'm like, because of that. Like, it's why do I why do people do have ask people if they want shots of Malort? They know it's fucking terrible, but it's great to see your face when they're fucking after you take the shot. Like, come on. Yeah.
It's true.
Um,
It's true. I wouldn't have likened it to that, but you're right.
It's, I mean, it absolutely is like shot of alert. Oh, what the fuck did you give me? Like it's terrible music. Oh, what the fuck is this? Like,
Why?
yeah, yeah. Well, I had to listen to it, so you did too. Ha, fucker. That's yeah, but that's a good thing about like being being friends with people who have the same like passion for music as you. Like to I can't tell you how many bands I've been turned on to from just people I know. Hey, check out this band. And I'm like, holy shit, they're fucking good. Like, yep, cool. I actually talked to a buddy of mine earlier, and he's like, dude, I don't even remember who it was. You interviewed this dude, and I can't tell you how excited I am to hear this record, and I've not heard anything off it yet. And I'm like, fuck yeah, cool. Like,
The
thank,
human element of art, like it's more important than we ever recognize.
yeah. And it's so crazy. It's a sales job, right? Like as much as, like a musician just wants to play music, but the reality is it's a sales job. So when someone gets a like warm introduction from someone they know and trust with their musical taste to a band, they are more likely to enjoy that band, versus just like stumbling upon them, right? Like that warm introduction really takes the walls down and like they start, I think, actively looking for the positive things in the music, which helps them buy that next album.
I agree. I think I mean, I look at it. Sorry, my dog is here. Hello.
You're totally
Um,
fine. Mine are all upstairs
um,
fucking sleeping, I think.
oh, lucky. Um, no, I kind of agree. I look at shows like that too. I think my experience specifically with this is a little bit different just because I've always, comparatively to the people around me, I have certain spots that intersect and then certain spots that don't. So sometimes, like even with the guys in my band, like Poison the Well is one that we definitely agree with. And actually getting to see them on that tour, I was a little bit worried it was going to be kind of one of those like nostalgia things. They fucking crushed. They were so
Dude,
good.
I know I caught him
They
on
rip.
Headbanger's boat and I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, they haven't lost a step at all, and that was great. But then we all splinter off in kind of our own direction. But I like myself, I'll sometimes get suggested things, especially like if we're getting pitched for a tour or like, like we're doing some shows in July with this band called Tan and Handsome, and I had not heard them until they were pitched to us to be like, do you want to do these dates with them? And after listening to a couple of songs, I was like, I want to see this live. Like I don't even care. Like I need to see what they're doing here and I need to see it in person. And that makes me excited because there's kind of no way that they're going to be terrible. Like you can just tell,
Yeah,
like you listen to these songs and you're like, this is good, but this is going to be a show. Like you're going to see something when you're doing it, which is really exciting. But also because of that, we take a lot of pride in our live show. We take a lot of pride in what that is, whether it's putting on a performance, but also like we've talked about already, like ensuring that the sequence of songs makes sense. Ensuring that the vibe that we're creating for this, we play Philly here. Okay, the vibe's going to be different for this next Philly show. We've got to bring this back. What bands are we playing with? Okay, let's stick out a little left of center here. And I think that that's really important because my version of this is like I said, seeing other bands or being pitched other bands or like going to a show where I know the headliner, but I don't know any of the openers and getting that opportunity too. Because there are like, for example, Drug Church. I didn't get it until I saw it live, and now love that band. They're great.
yeah.
They can do no wrong. But when I heard, I think it was Paul Walker, like whatever that EP is, I was like, okay. And then I saw them live, and they just got up there and did not give a fuck, and they were so tight. And at the end, I was like, now I get it. Like now this is good. And now especially Cheer, but like their records are awesome. Um, and sometimes, like, that's the version that I need. I know a lot of my friends are like, oh, we're really into Misery Signals, and this band is get compared to Misery Signals, so I'm going to go listen to it. Sometimes that sell doesn't work for me, but I also know
Right.
that I'm different. Like, if I could have the live experience for everything, I would take that 100% of the time. You
Me
know?
too.
Yeah.
It's, I'm a three chance guy, right? So if I go
Yeah.
see a band and they're terrible the first time, I'm like, awesome. Like I get it. I'm not gonna buy anything this time, but I'll see you again.
Yeah.
Second time, I'm like, okay, if you guys suck again, maybe there's something else. Maybe it just doesn't work for me, and then third time, man, if you ain't got me by seeing you the third time, I've given you three chances live to do it. And if you haven't caught me by that third time, you're just not for me, you
Yeah.
know? But
That's fair.
there's a band out of your favorite place, Nashville, called Howling Giant that uh, they're like they're like the stoner psychedelic. I don't even I I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to explain it, but like when I listen to I think the last record, Glass Future, I tried to listen to it like I'm going to see him. I want to hear this new album. It didn't click with me at all. And I'm like, yeah. And then I saw him live and it was like, oh, I fucking get it now. Oh my God.
Primitive Man was like that for me.
Hmm.
Uh, they shake the fucking earth when they play live, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, and I now very much appreciate what they do. But the first time I listened to it, I was like, okay, I get it, but ISIS did it better. And now it's like, no, 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 I get it now.
Yeah.
But again, that's art. That's what's beautiful about it.
Yeah. And I, I don't think there's another feeling that matches seeing a good band live. Like you forget about all of the worries of the world and you're just there in that moment. Nothing else matters.
Agreed. Yeah, it's a
Fuck.
beautiful thing. There's
So
not
let
a
me
lot of
ask,
moments like that anymore. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
no, no, there's not. No, you're totally good. What was the first band that did that to you? Like when you saw them, you were just like,
This is going to be a
wow.
weird one. It's very Canadian. There's a band in the early 2000s around here called Moneen. Um, Kind of in that emo world, but not really. They were always kind of weird. They've got a little bit of like I don't want to call it mathy, but there's definitely like you need to pay attention. And I saw them when I was 17. My friends and I drove up to Kingston. I lived in Belleville, which is fucking nowhere in Ontario. But Kingston is a college town in Ontario. It's got a pretty expansive, like there's a big university, a big college, like it's there. And this venue probably held about 60 people. There was easily 100 people. I was underage, but I knew the guy that would put shows on, so he would let me and my friends in through the fire door in the back because he knew we weren't going to drink or fuck around. We were there for the show. They got up on stage and within the first song had torn down the drop ceiling by just playing. Like guitars were flying and doing all this shit. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And by the end of the set, I bought every piece of merch they had, went home and was like, I don't care anymore. This is the only thing I'm doing. And I was playing in bands before and doing the little like towny thing where you play in the like VFW hall and doing whatever. And that I drove home that night and was like, I don't care anymore. Like, this is the only thing that matters. I spent all of my time doing it, and it's been 20 some years, and I'm still exactly the same. Like, this is all I care about. This is all I want to do. Like, my interests have broadened a little bit, but like, it's
Just a
it's
little. Music's
really
still
just a
all of it.
little. It's still all of it. I mean, like I like to eat, I like food,
Yeah,
but like it literally changed my life. And I've been lucky enough throughout the years to actually become friends with those guys. And my previous band did some recording with one of the guys, and that was a big deal for me. But also like I can replay that entire show in my head. Like I
that's
remember
cool.
all the bands that played, I remember the set list. My memory is not that good. But I cannot and
Selective.
will not forget it. I've told these guys so many times, like, you're the reason, like, my world changed. And they're not a heavy band at all. Like, that's not the world they're in. And I kind of stumbled down into that world. I started off being really into bands like Small Brown Bike. We talked about Planes Mistaken for Stars, like that world. It took
Yeah,
me a while to get to the heavy world, especially when it came to creating music. But like, I've never seen a show to that caliber of like, performance, but also like the tightness of the band. Like they're throwing fucking guitars and damaging stuff and playing every note. Like I still don't understand how that happened. And they did that for years. Like I've seen that band probably 30 to 35 times.
wow.
And until they kind of stopped being a full-time band, that was the show every time you saw them. It was chaos. And I've seen them in big venues, I've seen them in small venues, I've seen them all over the place. Um, it's never not been like that. And they still play shows here and there now. Like they play festivals here and they're doing that sort of thing. And actually Kenny, the main guy in it, actually plays in Dashboard Confessional now and does like a bunch of that kind of stuff. So in that world, they're still like pretty active. But
Yeah,
like teenage Dan will never forget that show. And like that's what I strive to do is like when we're playing, I'm never going to be that. Like I physically can't do that, but that's my benchmark. Like if we played enough to have someone else go, "Oh my God," like
yeah,
whether it's the tightness or the energy, or our big thing is like the intensity, like we want to bring that intensity level up, whatever that ends up meaning. Um, that's my benchmark. And if I don't feel like we hit it, I'm upset until the next time we get to play because we
Hmm.
now need to redeem for that. And it's just something that's cooked into my head from that day. It's like this is what it's supposed to be. Um,
that's really cool. Like
yeah.
that's
My parents are probably not happy about that, but that's a different thing.
that's all part of it.
Yeah.
So my parents are to blame for my love of music.
Oh yeah.
So this is completely left field. My first concert was Michael Jackson on the Thriller tour,
Heck, it's kind of hard to
right?
beat. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was probably 7 at the time, 6,
It's
I don't
awesome.
know. So I don't remember. The only thing that I remember is everyone there was having such a good time and being in absolute awe of what of the performance. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. So that like set that for me, it set that benchmark up. So when a band makes me go awe, I'm like, oh man, why the fuck aren't they bigger? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. There's like I used to keep a list of bands that we played with where I was like, why isn't this band a big deal? And I still kind of do, but we seem to like maintain friendships with them now. We played with this band in Florida when we were there for Fest last year. They're called Dressura, and they sound like early 2000s Trustkill, like ripping. But these guys are pretty young and they are awesome. They are so good live. And they're just like in my head when we played with them, I was like, they've got to have been a band for forever. They're like a baby band. They've been around like 3, maybe 4 years. And they just destroy. And they're one of those ones where I'm like, I can't believe that these guys aren't like opening for fucking Mastodon or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's not
Yeah.
exactly their world, but they're also just so good. And there's a lot of bands like that, and people. I feel like bands that are worthwhile or that are doing art for the right way, they get what they deserve in a good way. I
Yeah.
mean, that can be kind of a daunting way of saying that, but good art stands out for a reason. And I know we've been lucky enough to play with a lot of really great bands since starting to tour. And the thing that I always kind of look at from this stuff is like, what can I learn from them, but also what can I appreciate about that? Being
Yeah,
different is good. Being different is great. Learning how to do something different is great, but also like, there's 30,000 different versions of heavy. So like, let's also just enjoy what that is for it. And man, you should check them out once you're done. They're really good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm always like, I was going to ask you, like, what band, do you think other people should know about? I didn't even have to ask
I
you.
have
Like,
I have so many of those though. It's a problem. Like there's God's Eyes from Long Island. They're fucking ripping too. But there's also like kind of chill, laid back stuff from Canada that like I'm kind of shocked never got super popular. Like this band from up here called Attack in Black. They're not a band anymore, but they did this like kind of indie punk rock thing, and then they became this like quasi country band, or they were all over the place, but also the songs are so good. How did they not blow up? But that's like a Canadian thing. There's a lot of bands that are really big up here that never seem to take off in the States, and you can never really make sense of why other than the fact that they're Canadian. So like it is what it is. But I mean, like we were talking about records, that's a whole nother podcast of just talking about bands that should be
eh,
huge that aren't,
I'll,
you know.
I'd have to agree with you again, right? Spotlights, I feel like they should be like, oh, so much bigger than what they are. And not that they're doing bad, because they're jamming, but
Yeah,
man,
I mean, you'd like to, you see them play with the Melvins, and that's like a great fit. But also, they should be the Melvins, and not in like copying them, but like they're that type of band,
yeah,
like I don't, in my world, they are. I mean, again, talking about spotlights, we definitely have a soft spot for that band. Like I can't admit that we don't. They're family to us, but there's there's a lot of those left of centers where I'm just like you deserve it. You've put the work in, you've done all of this stuff. And there's so many different awesome bands that are out there that are like that.
yeah,
And I mean, at the end of the day, just being able to do it is kind of the reward, but you would like to see people be able to continue to do it. So
yeah. Yeah, keep
yeah,
bringing me the music because I want to fucking hear more music. You know what I mean?
exactly.
That's,
Exactly.
you know, it, I try to tell the younger generation, like when you go to a show, you like the band, go buy something from them. Doesn't matter
Yeah,
what you buy, just buy something. T-shirt, patch, sticker, CD, record, like whatever they have, buy something. And like it helps them get to the next town or whatever. And two, it lets them know like, hey, they liked us enough to fucking do this. It's another little like it's like filling the cup, a little drop in the fucking
absolutely.
cup to go, oh man,
Absolutely.
okay, this isn't just a waste of fucking time. Even if only 10 people showed up to the fucking show, and 10 people bought merch, we're doing it right because everyone fucking bought merch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so what's your touring schedule look like this year?
So we've got a little bit of stuff in July. There is an unending list of things that are like, for lack of a better term, under the radar that we're trying to figure out. The tough thing being a Canadian band, especially right now, we do everything by the book. We have work visas, we do everything, but especially right now, that's still kind of maybe not enough. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
So that's been a bit of a um, not necessarily a hiccup, but it's just in the back of our heads. So we're trying to see what we can have available. We're trying to do things in a way that spreads things out as much as we can. But at the same time, we also have to take a look at the opportunities that are available to us and kind of go from there. So, the record coming out at the end of the summer, we're doing a few like really small, probably borderline too small shows kind of around Toronto. Like we're doing one in Toronto, we're doing one in Hamilton, we're doing one in St. Catharines, a little bit after the record has come out, because not necessarily that we want to like reward our area, but we wanted to do something for the people that are around us, like kind of in our world. And so we've got those coming up. There's going to be some touring in the fall into the winter, but we're really like gung ho to go. And we're definitely like road dogs. Like everybody is happy to be on tour. It's not a struggle. We actually operate very well as a touring entity. Sometimes you hear people like bickering and all this stuff. And like we are definitely a family where like we kind of torture each other in a positive manner.
Yeah.
And we've got really like a brotherly vibe between us, but also like when it's time to work, it's time to work, and we all understand that. So touring isn't tough. We're not like, do we have to go out? It's more like, can we play two shows tonight? Like it's that
Right.
kind of thing. Now we're too old to play two shows in one night, but we think about it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where it's at. Now, it's kind of one of these things where if some, if the place exists, we want to go. It's just a matter of trying to get there and making sure that we can do so in a way that doesn't put us into a bad spot. And right now, that's the border. We've heard a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of stuff that's been dismissed as like not necessarily true. And because we do things very legitimate, the risk is a lot lower. But also, like, you do hear a lot of stuff. You
Oh
hear people
yeah.
getting turned away at the border. You hear people being detained, even though they have stuff put together. We're a very, like I said, low key bunch. I was making the joke before. We're very food motivated. Like we do things by the book so that we are able to continue to do those sorts of things. But that book is kind of changing, and so we're trying to be
Yeah.
cognizant of that at the same time. So
That's a fair statement. I I was just looking at like how far is Toronto from me? Um,
I have done that drive. I will tell you, from Louisville, excuse me, to Toronto. It doesn't seem like the worst drive in the world. It kind of is.
no, it's not.
Just it's
I
well,
promise
no.
you it's
What's
not.
the worst drive in the world is from Phoenix to Toronto, and we had to do that, and that sucked. But
I could totally
I
see that.
it's dude, we came over a hill. We're in like northern Texas. We came over a hill, and it was like 18 degrees Celsius, and we get to the bottom of the hill, and it was -5. And we started getting freezing rain, and we got one more highway stop before we had to pull off. And we had planned on driving like a solid 12 to maybe 14 hours that day, and we pulled off after 9, and I was like, we're not going any farther anymore. Like, this is a fucking nightmare. And we got a crazy fucking freezing rainstorm, and by the morning it was all gone. And I was just like, this is just the perfect explanation of this section of the country. There's nothing here for a reason. No one wants to live through this stuff, but also that was brutal. And then the next
Yeah.
day we fucking flew. Like we crossed like 7 states the next day. But that was
Yeah.
just like, I will never forget that drive, but also that is officially the worst drive. Like, it does not matter where like we did Toronto to Austin to start that tour. It was fine. It's long, but it's okay. But you connect Phoenix to Toronto in that line, I'll let you look it up. It sucks. Most of that drive is terrible. So, but Louisville, it seems like it shouldn't be that long, and it's a little bit longer. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you get the idea in your head of like, this
Oh
is a
yeah.
5 hour drive, and then that 5 hour drive becomes a 7 hour drive, and you don't know how it happened. That's the Louisville to Toronto drive.
Oh,
So,
that's well, so my plan would be to go from Detroit. So I'd go up to Detroit for a couple of days before, so it's a shorter
yeah,
drive.
shorter drive, worse border. That
Mm,
border's tough. Ambassador Bridge is bad. I mean, they're building that other bridge now, I think. What is it, the Gordie Howe Bridge or
Gordie
something like
Howe
that?
is it's
Yeah.
it's built and open.
Oh, it's open now. Oh, so I wonder
Yeah.
how that is then. When we cross into Michigan, we go up to Sarnia and then cross over Port Huron. Because it's
Oh,
just
okay.
easier that way. I will avoid the Ambassador Bridge at all costs. I'm not
That's
doing it.
fair. I
Yeah.
now I haven't been honestly, I haven't crossed that border since I was like 19 or maybe 20. Because we could go
Apparently,
over
Windsor Pizza is cool. I haven't had it, but apparently
di-
Windsor Pizza is a big deal.
we could go over there and fucking drink legally. Like,
That's
math.
true. Oh, that's right, because it's 21 in the States, isn't it?
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Eh,
Yep.
that's
It
funny.
was good times. Yeah, so I'll just have to figure it out.
We
You
we
might
have a very good friend of ours that puts shows on in Detroit. So we usually play Detroit like 2 or 3 times a year, depending on what's going on. I shouldn't say in Detroit, it's in like Millvale or one of those like little suburbs just outside of the Detroit core. I'm trying to remember. I'm terrible with venue names. I could drive right there from here, but I can't tell you.
parts and labor.
Parts and Labor is what that's my friend Justin owns that place. I love
Okay.
that guy endlessly. But like we've played a few different places and it's never been Detroit proper. We played the Sanctuary or we've played oh fuck, what's that other one? Shit. Anyway, we've played a bunch of stuff and it's never been right directly in Detroit. So
Yeah.
yeah. I used to
Yes.
play Flint all the time, which was a weird one at the
Oh
local
yeah.
432 or whatever it was. Used to play there all the time. Now I'm showing my
Flint.
age a little bit though.
Oh man. What a shithole that place is. Sorry, Flint. I know you guys have your own problems.
Yeah, I
We
didn't
love
say
you.
it. I didn't say it.
I know a bunch of people there. It was pretty bad. Um, it's all right though. Well, I would, I'm hoping to see some more dates
He'll be
with
coming for sure.
you guys over here in the States sooner rather than later. But if need be, like I am definitely not opposed to making that Toronto trek. Because I have to experience this live. That is an absolute.
Well, I hope we don't let you down.
I don't
Um,
think that you will. Not listening to
yeah.
the people that like shape you. I'm like, okay, I get it. That like not one of those has ever let me down. Matter of fact, Cave In was one of those bands. Listening to them, I was like, meh. And then I saw them and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I get it. I am absolutely a fan.
I to a at nauseum celebrate their discography to the point where I think the guys in the band are sick of it. Um, I actually did get a couple of them to come see Mutoid Man with me when they were here last year, and I think that was a bit of like a to them because especially like Pat, especially like our one guitar player Pat is like his level of guitar competency is so high that he is in many different worlds as long as it's got a guitar in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And Steve Brodsky is a very underrated guitar player, in my opinion. Now, he is also like my guitar dude. You know what I mean? Like I feel like everybody that plays guitar has that one guy where they're like, this is my guy. So I'm a little biased. But seeing him in Mutoid Man really kind of does show off just like how cool of a guitar player he is. And I think it was just kind of neat to have though like Alex and Pat, but Pat especially, just kind of see that and be like, oh shit, you know? Because like there's a lot of like his world is just so full of like guitar and notes and all of these cool things. That sometimes I feel like some of the stuff that into is like a little bit lost on him. So again, live music thing though, right?
yeah.
But yeah, Cave In I think is definitely one of those live bands. Like the recordings are great, and I again I'm biased. I am a massive fan, but seeing them live is one of those ones where if I can help it, I will be there. You know, oh, you're doing another tour? Well, I'll figure it out. Like if I could figure out a way to get to Post Fest and not have to mortgage other things in my life to do so, I would do that. No problem. Um,
Just stay with
but I
me.
have to be
It'll be fine.
I have to be a responsible adult. I have to work so that I can go on tour. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
really what it is. But no, I just I don't know, man. I love it. I
yeah.
love it.
Me too. Post Fest is going to be absolutely amazing this year.
It's such a
I'm
crazy lineup. Like it's just
dude.
such a good lineup.
It really is, and they added like the night before Post Fest at Black Circle. Um, with are you familiar with Hero Way?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dude,
They're
they're
playing the pre-show.
yeah.
Wild. That's
I'm
crazy.
Dude, I'm super excited for that. They're like I just like I don't know, maybe a month ago, like got the email and was like, "Oh, I'll check it out." Oh, look, she's trying to like get behind the couch. Hey, hey, what's going on? But we just switched my whole fucking basement around. She's like, "I go down here." Not now,
Yeah.
you know, kitty.
Not anymore.
Yeah, sorry. She's like, "Fuck." So I'm really looking forward to their set.
Yeah.
And Mario produced that album, which
Yeah.
is um
That's the reason I know them. He's been kind of championing them for a while. And like I said, like when it comes to that crew, if they're into something, I'm gonna check it out. So
yeah.
I am I they're one of those like again, same thing. I want to see it live. Like the recording is really good. It's got some
Yeah.
like what I call headphone candy, where like when you're listening to it, you're like, oh shit, like this has got something to it. But I really want to see it live.
Yeah.
And like they're one of those ones where like if they showed up in Buffalo, I would drive down for that. You know what I mean? Like because I want to I'm intrigued enough by everything else that I've heard that like that I want to see it live. So
Yeah.
hopefully they get somewhere near us, but no, that's gonna be a cool one. I think that they're gonna kind of outshine some of those other bands. Like they'll be kind of become that sneaky, like, oh, you should have seen that show of that weekend, you know?
So I think you're absolutely right. I mean, of course, they're the crowd favorites, Cave In and Converge and like Pelican and Pianos Become the Teeth and Emma Ruth Rundle, right? People are obviously going to see them, but man, I think the people who go to, that like pre-show, I think they're going to be the band where everyone's like, holy fuck, if you didn't go, you missed out.
Absolutely. At least I hope. Like I hope that's what it is. That's the feeling I get.
So I hope that's what it is too, because they're the fucking, who'd I talk to? I talked to, fuck, I don't remember now. I talked to two of them, Brian and Eric, maybe.
Okay, cool.
Uh, and just super, super nice dudes. So I'm really looking forward to catching their set. I think
That's sick.
right with you. I think that is the set to experience. So,
Yeah.
um, Dan, thank you, dude. I have had such a good fucking time just bullshitting with you.
It's half the fun, man. Like don't get me wrong, it's great to like it's just nice to talk to people about music, you know? Like it's never really sorry, I had to plug my phone in or it was gonna die.
Yeah,
It's never really a bother to me, but also like sometimes kind of interviews can get dug down in like the interview side of things. Like,
yeah,
what were you listening to when you were recording this or whatever, which is great. But I don't know what it's been about doing some of the press for this record. I just feel like I'm not having those. Like I'm having like human conversations or like just like meeting on a level with that, which is kind of its own reward in a roundabout way because sometimes this stuff can get a little bit monotonous, but it just hasn't been like that at all. And I'm trying to do that thing where you're conscious of it in the moment of like just enjoy this, as every therapist in the world has said, like pay attention to what's going on in the moment.
yeah.
Um, but that's, like that's been really lucky. And I think that the weird caveat that's come out of putting this record out and doing all of this thing, as we kind of talked about at the start, is like we're attracting music fans. We're attracting people that are passionate about music in general. So even the conversations I'm having with people that aren't based in press or podcast or whatever it is, it's still just like talking about the music or talking about the experience in that. And that's just fucking great. Like I don't mean to be an ass and like kind of generic in saying that, but it really is true because as we talked about, like the single version of that, of like people just ingesting certain songs, like that's cool and all, but it's nice to talk to fans. It's nice to talk
Yeah,
to people that are passionate about it. And that's really been like the silver spoon to the whole thing is just like everybody we're talking to just like gives a shit, and that's amazing.
that's
So I
super
appreciate
fucking
you
cool.
in the same way.
Hell yeah, dude. I only do it because I just like talking music. Like I don't give a fuck if I never make a dime doing this. I like to talk music and I like to promote what I feel is good music. I want people to fucking enjoy what these killer artists are putting out like you guys. Like I think a lot of people are gonna be absolutely blown away with Ritual Decay. Like it's just a fucking God, I'm gonna say it 100 times. It's just a great fucking album. So let everyone in the band know. Thanks for putting together such a killer piece of fucking work.
Well, I appreciate you saying so. Hopefully it radiates the way that you think it's going to.
I fucking hope so. I absolutely hope so. Dan, again, thank you, dude.
Happy to.
I love you, man. Go and
Absolutely.
have
I love you
yourself a
too,
great
dude.
night. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll see each other in person soon.
Yeah, if we do, I got to give you a big hug, man. That's just all there is to it.
I'll tolerate that.
Cool. Awesome. Have a great night, my
Thanks, man.
friend.
You
See
too.
ya.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Take care.